What up? Monero Matteo, welcome back. Good to be with you guys again today. So, yes, I am not making videos that much anymore. If you're not on the Telegram, if you're not on the social media sites, basically, I've just run up against constraints that can't be overcome as much as I thought that they would abate. And so we've got to kind of put things on hold a little bit, or at least just not put out as much content as we did before. And what I've done is I've gotten rid of the Patreon. I've gotten rid of the sponsorships. Cake Wallet, gonna miss you. We still love Cake Wallet, don't we? I'm sure some of you are happier. You can get straight to the content instead of having to go through that. But there's not going to be as much content, so it's kind of here and there. But it was a pretty dope intro, wasn't it? The EDM music and all that stuff. Thank you, Jesse, for helping me create that. But yeah, we're going to miss Cake Wallet. I do want to thank a couple people who have been with me ever since the beginning, really. Josh, you're one of those people. You were the longest patron. I think you're the longest subscriber too. You were subscribed to the channel when we had like 2 people subscribed, and I didn't know what I was doing, honestly. I just had this, $40 mic, which I still have, and then this setup. But because of your donations and your support, I was able to get these lights, which made things look a little bit better, and then we got the icons, which are great and add a little bit of ambiance, don't they? They bring the Christ into the picture, which, of course, we all need, especially talking about this stuff. Lord help me. But, yes, the channel has come a long way because of y'all's support. I do appreciate that. But there are just certain things going on that make it so that I don't really have the time or money to keep up with this, and so I just have to put this all on hold, and when Monero goes hyper mega nuclear, I'll be back. But life has demands, and given everything that's going on with the economy, given everything going on out there, I don't anticipate things getting much better, but we'll see what happens. It's all for the glory of God. It's all for the glory of God. It's all as well. So that's fun. And then Ken, Ronan, Lutz, Stewart, Henrik, you guys were also very supportive patrons. Thank you, Lutz, for the GoPro camera that you got me a long time ago. I use that for the nature walks, and I think I'm going to do a few more nature walks moving into the future, because just finding the time to sit down at the desk and go through the news, that's not something I have much time for anymore. It's like 11 o'clock right now. Just popped out of the shower, but yeah, that's typically the only time that I have to do this stuff. And by the way, the computer's starting to crash a little bit too, which makes things difficult. I was actually doing a Lightning Network video, and I was like 25 minutes into it, and all of a sudden the thing just shuts off. So I hope it doesn't happen again this time. But yeah, I kind of had like this weird thing happen. I was doing, the video, and then there was like a sequence of events that happened. It crashed, and then there was like a spider or a fly that was like hanging around my face. I go to swat it. I hit the mic. The mic falls over, and it hits this cross that I have on my desk off the table. And so when that happened, I was just like, you know what? Maybe it's just I can't do this anymore. maybe that's it. Maybe it's time. And I have experienced other things like that. Maybe you guys have too. I know a lot of Christians watch this stuff, and we look out for providence. We kind of just get those lightning flash moments that just kind of tell us, all right, it's time to move on, dude. And typically you have sort of a process that prepares you for that moment. It's sort of like the bifurcation point. It's that avalanche point where it's just like, okay, changes have to be made. And that's sort of what happened. So the channel, not going to be producing as much content as much as I would like to. I mean, I would have loved to do more interviews. There's so many people out there I wanted to talk to. Lutz, Rafael Laverde, Doug. I still didn't do a Monero talk. Isn't that crazy? But yeah, just, I'm not going to regret or fret over it. It is just what it is, right? But yeah, I wanted to do debates with the Bitcoin bros. But honestly, guys, at this point, do we need to even have this ecumenical dialogue with the Bitcoin bros? Does it need to happen? I mean, if you don't get the value of Monero now with everything that's going on and everything that we've seen with Bitcoin, there's no getting through to you. There's no logic that could possibly penetrate that HODL shell that's like a Kevlar helmet around the brains of these Bitcoin bros. I mean, I can't do it. And I barely have the patience anymore to keep up on social media and see these tweets. We'll get to a couple of them today where it's just like, oh my gosh, is this where they're at? Much love to the Bitcoin bros and everybody else, but seriously, I think more people have to be waking up to the value of this stuff. By now, I hope. We've been on this track for a good year now, and we've laid out the super hyper mega bullish case. There's got to be at least 100 bullish points that we've named over the last year, and all of them are now coming into focus. I made a tweet the other day about how Monero taking over the darknet markets is a huge, huge deal because everyone's starting to talk more about price controls. Everyone's starting to talk more about shortages and food supply disruptions and things like this. Okay, well, that's going to lead to problems, okay? That's going to lead to rationing. Kind of like what you saw in 2020 with the PPE. You could only buy like 2 loaves of bread at some of these places. You guys remember that? I mean, I can't believe that was 2 years ago. It's like we all just forgot about it. Like, that was our lives. We would go to the store. There was only so much meat you could get. There was only so much you could get in regards to masks and gloves, if you could find it. And a lot of that stuff actually made its way to the dark web. There's been research reports about this stuff, but that's going to continue for your everyday items, okay? Because all this stuff is going to go into shortages. We're starting to see a lot of these countries become more protectionist. They're starting to limit their exports. They're starting to look after their own countrymen and their own people. Now, is America going to do that? No, because we're an internationalist state. And it's sort of interesting, just as a bypoint. Everyone wants to talk about Americanism versus globalism. Globalism is Americanism. We exported it to everywhere else, which is why, this American nationalistic stuff, which led to all this stuff in the first place, which, by the way, I am nationalistic. I mean, I think it's not a bad thing. But that's a problem. All this stuff about, oh, well, we're just going to help everybody out. Forget about the natives. There are no natives. We're all just one thing. Yeah, that's not going to end so well. It's going to be problematic when there are shortages of supplies and people have to make a mad dash to grocery stores and there are people of different cultures kind of clicking together, kind of like they do in prison, and then it just gets ugly from there. You'd much rather have a homogenous society when you get into supply shortage issues. That's just a bypoint. But you're going to want Monero so that you can avoid all that chaos because it's going to be Black Friday maybe everywhere that you go if you want to get basic staple items, not even just a TV, right? Not to go totally black pill doom on you guys, but I think it would be nice if you could deliver food or whatever it is you need off the dark web where people are willing to supply it for a cost which is going to be denominated in Monero perhaps. So that's just something to note. But since I've started to ramble, let's just get into the content. Thank you, everybody, for supporting the channel. That's pretty much all I wanted to say. Hold on, let me get my screen here. Down here. Yep, okay, cool. So, let's go ahead and go to the news. So, it's been pretty rocking, guys. We've had a pretty good run. All these worthless cryptos still above Monero here. It's kind of retarded, but Monero is sitting at number 24, 33% up on the week. Let's go. It's just going freaking nuclear. Actually, it's having a good run. Is it going nuclear? Can we even say it's going nuclear? It's certainly not going super hyper mega nuclear yet, but we'll see. Guys, here's the thesis, the basic point, right? In regards to this. When it starts to make that move up, okay, you see how we just passed Bitcoin Cash here? Okay, that's pretty pivotal. Bitcoin Cash has been above Monero since the beginning, since its inception, as far as I'm concerned. The fact that it passed Bitcoin Cash, which is another actually useful cryptocurrency, which is being adopted and used, respect to it in that regard. The fact that it passed that is making it known that, yeah, Monero is a pretty good medium of exchange, okay? Now, are a lot of people going to glean that from looking at this ridiculous lineup here of other cryptos like Sheep Token and Dodge? Maybe not, but to us in the know, that makes sense. Now the next suspect that I see to be routed is Litecoin. We're on our way. I think we're on our way. It's only about $1 billion out. Let's get a whale to drop a little splash in the liquidity pool there. Let's get it going. But yeah, it's on the way up, and once it starts to really move its way up, especially since we're in this kind of bear market, environment, people are going to look at Monero and be like, oh, it's a good trade. Like that's going to be like the initial spark for a lot of people. And then you're going to have the people who are a little bit more skeptical, who maybe aren't like momentum traders, but who are interested in some gains. They're going to be like, what's up with Monero? Why is it moving so much up in the rankings right now? They're going to take a look at it. They're going to piece some things together as we have over the last year. And then they're going to say, maybe that's why it's going up. Maybe it's going up because it's not necessarily like a momentum trade, which I'm sure a lot of people will get into it for. But wow, this actually has a tremendous use case proposition, especially in this environment where everything's going 1984, totally panopticonical, technocratic, blah, 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 right? And so they're going to get in. And then other people are going to pile in. It's going to become like this, hashtag movement on Twitter, Monero first. Maybe. We'll see. I'd like for that to be the case because, Monero first. My pride says it's something that we started here on the channel. It's kind of a cool thing. I've kind of like dropped that by the wayside. I'm still Monero first, but, Christ in crypto, I think, is a great saying. It's becoming more important every day with everything going on, but we'll leave that to the side for now. Yeah, once it starts to go, it's going to freaking go, guys. And then the conversations for real are going to happen where it's like, okay, Bitcoin versus Monero, and then the game theory from there is going to kick in. You hear about game theory a lot from the Bitcoin bros. Oh, well, whatever government adopts this stuff first is going to make all the Bitcoin cash. I mean, that's where the money's going to go, and so whoever gets in first, they're going to get all the tendies and blah, 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 right? And it's going to become like a mad dash to the Bitcoin exit, to the Bitopia. But, I think it's actually a stronger proposition that a lot of people, when they start to see Monero move up and they understand that it actually is what they thought Bitcoin was and has stronger fundamentals and is more decentralized and is more private and fungible and actually can have it claim to be money. The store of value thing, you guys know my position on that, but people are going to be like, it may make sense to rebalance the portfolio a little bit. I'm going to sell some of my Bitcoin, get into Monero. And guys, okay, 1 Bitcoin is worth, 200 Monero? So it's an obvious value investment trade. It's obvious to allocate some of your portfolio to that. And Barry Silbert, he says to own, or he says to have like 5% of your privacy, he says to have 5% of your portfolio in privacy coins. Now, you guys here on the channel, if you have 5%, just 5% of your crypto portfolio in privacy coins, I don't know what you're doing here. Okay. Like if you don't have at least 90%, and I'm not giving financial advice, but seriously, like if you look at this market here and you understand Monero and you think it's 5% that you need to have out, okay, come on. You need to watch more of our videos. But yeah, it's more people are just going to piece this together. It's going to become like a trickle turning into a flood, that kind of thing. Anyway, so yeah, Bitcoin's just kind of stagnant. It doesn't know what's going on. It doesn't know what's happening. Ethereum's just kind of chilling there, dead in the water, which it is. I mean, I don't know how anyone could be okay with those transaction costs. And who cares about all this DeFi stuff? We're going to get to that a little bit later. I mean, guys, forget about this digital gold crap. Forget about DeFi. Forget about all this stuff. It's all about private, decentralized, peer-to-peer cash. If you recognize that, then you're ahead of the curve and you've been doing better than everybody else during this downturn. Okay? Now, did you miss out maybe on a few tendies here and there? Yeah. You did, because Monero didn't really do too much. But honestly, with where it's going, that's not a problem. And given how much money people lost just recently in the last couple of weeks, and it's not just in crypto, but in all these ridiculous stocks that had no fundamentals whatsoever, like Snap, for example. Snapchat, it was down like 45% yesterday. Okay? And you know why? Because it's worthless, and people figured that out. And nature tends to, return to the mean pretty quick. So if you want to sleep good at night, guys, just get into a good fundamental position. Something that makes sense, something that people aren't looking at, and that's Monero in the crypto market right now. So moving on. Am I recording? Sweet. Let's look at DNMs. It's been a while since we checked out DNMs. Things are back to the mean, returning to the mean as we talked about before. So check it out. The shorts are now ahead of the longs. The longs were way outpacing the shorts. Now, this makes sense. We've talked about price manipulation a good bit here on the channel. There are still some exchanges apparently which are shut down and aren't allowing for Monero withdrawals. Still kind of weird. We talked about that. We don't need to go back into it, but there was a period where price action did seem to take over. It did seem to make sense. Like you see all these longs right here. Well, you see the price going up too. Now that makes sense. People are bullish. The price goes up. Okay, now the price is going down. The longs are going down. Now the shorts are taking over. But the price is going up now. So I don't know how that's going to translate into changes in the longs and the shorts right here. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to move it down. But that's what's going on. We had a good period running there for a little bit. Maybe that was because of the run on the exchanges or whatever. But yeah, if we look at for 360 days, the mean was kind of like the shorts being in control a little bit, especially right here. There was a period of like super bullish activity right here. Look at all the longs. But they had to drop back down. Then you had longs. So, we're starting to see a little bit of a sine wave activity. It sounds like I know what I'm talking about. I don't know what a sine wave activity is. I don't even know if I've ever heard a trader use that term. But yeah, now we've got twice as many shorts as we do longs. People are bearish. Don't know why. But that's what's going on. I'm not thinking manipulation is really going on right now. It seems pretty good. I think a lot of activity is actually going on off the exchanges. And remember, guys, as there's more activity on the darknet marketplaces so that people can get the goods that they need that are maybe being rationed, you're going to have more liquidity taking place off the exchanges, which means they can allegedly manipulate the price less, which means it can find fair value that much more efficiently. So here's the price, $200. Where is it going up against Bitcoin? Let's look at the 5-year chart. Yep, can't really see much there. But yeah, we've kind of got like this Russian ruble type activity going on. Like you see a plunge, and then you see like a move back up. So maybe it's bucking up against some resistance here. Maybe if it goes up above the 0.007 sat level. And guys, I'm not a trader, bro. Don't take anything I say right now seriously on this. Maybe it'll start to break out, but who knows? By the way, regarding the Russian ruble, I think our play to get into Gazprom, like before they shut it off on the exchanges when it was down like 80% or whatever, like our choice to buy that dip, I think will turn out to be one of the best trades we ever made. Seriously. Like I think when the market opens back up for that, if it opens back up and we don't have our assets conscripted, I think we're going to be happy with what transpired. Anyways, John Foss, he's the bro behind Monero Moon. Go check him out. He's got some cool chart astrology stuff, and I'm not too much into the chart astrology, but this guy, he's got some good charts that we can check out. When Monero is convincingly breaking out from a 4-year long downtrend against Bitcoin, it feels good to be long Monero. So check it out. That's the chart. That's what's going on. Sweet. Way to go. Keep it going. Is Monero starting to decorrelate from other major cryptocurrencies? Now, this is big. This is a big deal. Okay. If Monero starts to trade based on its own path, like without having to follow Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever, like that's a huge deal. Okay. And not only does that bode very well for Monero, but that bodes very bad for Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin gets a lot of its value from being a market leader. Okay. And if there start to be cryptos like Monero, which aren't following the leadership of Bitcoin, people are going to wonder, what value does Bitcoin have ultimately? Especially if they start to realize that Monero is better on the fundamentals. Because the Bitcoin store value proposition doesn't make any sense. And I feel very bad for all the people who are going to be losing even more money than they already have because they do not understand this very fundamental part of crypto philosophy, if you want to put it that way. Things are a medium of exchange before they become a store of value. Okay. And not even so much the case for gold and silver because they have use cases outside of monetary use cases. They can be jewelry, they can be used for decorations, they can be used to engineer and manufacture electronics and other technologies. You don't get that with Bitcoin, you don't get that with Monero or other cryptocurrencies. These are tools for value exchange. Okay, that's their primary use case. And you've got so many different cryptos competing for that position of being the best medium of exchange. Okay, but Bitcoin is not it. And they're trying to make it by all these ridiculous things on layer 2, 3, whatever, side chains, liquid, whatever. Okay. It's all making it more complicated. It increases the attack vectors. It increases its regulatory co-opting potential and all that stuff. It's not at all competitive with Monero on a medium of exchange basis. Okay, so when people figure that out, that's going to lead people to consider this activity to be more significant. People are way far away from that as of now, but I think it's going to be like a co-evolutionary type deal. Like people are going to see the divergence between Monero and Bitcoin, and they're going to start to think about the fundamentals behind their position. Okay. And you got to get the first principles right, guys. You got to get those first principles right. A lot of people, they just have this very prideful approach to Bitcoin taking over the world and just Bitcoin having no competitors that could possibly be in its wing. It's so wrong. It's so wrong. I mean, they have this perspective, by the way, that Bitcoin is going to overtake gold as a prominent store of value, as an optimal store of value, and gold's been around for 5,000 years. Okay, but their proposition is that, okay, I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. There's no other crypto that even comes close and will never come close. There will never be innovation beyond the greatness of Bitcoin. Okay, do you see the problem with that logic? Right. So when they start to like piece these things together, you're going to see like that game theory thing that we talked about earlier kick in. And by the way, the prospect of having all of your gains be private instead of public on a blockchain that the data analytical firms are going to be able to look at is that much more attractive. Like the sooner that you can get into a private crypto and have your gains be private, the more that you're going to gain, one, but two, the more that nobody's going to know about your gains. And I'm sure that you can think about the implications of that. So that's something to consider. All these things to consider. But yeah, that's pretty significant. I hope that keeps up. Because that devalues all these other cryptos and that significantly increases the value of Monero. And people are going to get more curious about it. They're going to piece stuff together. So this is from T. Drud. Yo, Polynux, what's going on? Monero seems to have two prices now. Yeah, and there have been some comments about this. It's because they're not allowing people to take Monero off the exchange. And I think that has something to do with the divergence. But we continue to see weird exchange activity going on with Monero. Very weird activity. And this is what the Monero one was all about on the 18th last month. Salute to all the Monero bros and the Monero bro battalion who partook in that raid. But yeah, there's some weird things going on. And I think Binance froze their withdrawals again. Not recently, but back then. And if you want to understand why we have speculations about all that stuff, go check out our Monero price manipulation video. Go check out our Monero run video. We talk more about why it is there could be some shenanigans going on and why that run happened. So let's move on to some other news items. Proton Mail may need some help adopting Monero. Okay. So let's go ahead and get that taken care of. Let's go ahead and reach out to them. I use Proton Mail. I really like Proton Mail. Go ahead and reach out to them. Apparently, the Proton ecosystem is taking Bitcoin and cash, but Monero is not yet accepted, which is kind of ironic because Proton is a privacy-focused email application. So it's kind of what's going on with that. They have an Onion available for their services. They offer VPN, drive storage, calendar, and mail. That's pretty cool. I didn't even know they had a VPN and drive storage. That's sweet. Cool. Also, them having 5 million users would be a great way to get more people to notice Monero. So yeah, let's get that done. Let's reach out to them. Let's get that done. Ethereum Monero atomic swaps are on the way. This has been in the works for a while by Elizabeth Ethereum. Pretty sweet name. By the way, I'm putting my finger in here because I burned my finger. I was making some pancakes, and it just got too hot in Hell's Kitchen, you know what I mean? So, Ethereum Monero Atomic Swaps development update live on the stage net. Let's go. Now, I could read you all this stuff. Ultimately, this is just a lot of technical jargon we don't need to get into. But yeah, it's coming along. And that is what? Let's go check it out. Ethereum is a $235 billion market cap pool of liquidity and value, and opening up atomic swaps to Monero. That just opens a portal to another dimension, kind of like atomic swaps with Bitcoin. A lot of people who want privacy with Bitcoin and can't figure it out because they got to read like a 120,000-page Bitcoin privacy guide, they're just going to opt for doing atomic swaps with Monero. That's all well and good. And one thing I don't like about the whole atomic swap thing that I'm seeing in regards to the conversation for Bitcoin, and maybe this is going to happen with Ethereum, is like they're going to look at the atomic swap service as just like this mixing machine. You know what I mean? And they're not even going to think or contemplate that their dirty Bitcoins or maybe dirty Ethereums are going to be atomically swapped to like an innocent dude who just wanted to get some coin. You know what I mean? And so that's not ideal. Maybe there's going to be a premium for the Monero bro to make that exchange, but that's one thing I'm worried about. I'm just worried for my Monero bros. I don't want you guys to get some tainted crap doing this stuff. I mean, maybe if you do the atomic swap, maybe there's a way that you could do some data analytics to make sure you're not getting any some of that taint. But yeah, whatever. Warnings out there. I did my part, but that's cool. I mean, that's going to open up a whole new world. And given how many like Ethereum-based tokens that there are, people will be able to like swap into Ethereum, and then they're going to be able to get into Monero that way rather than having to put more work than they otherwise would. Because I don't think there are many ways that you could buy Monero with Ethereum, and Ethereum is like its own ecosystem. You know what I mean? And so that opens up another bridge. You guys can think of all the potentials and possibilities there. Super cool. So let's move on. We're at 26 minutes. Moving on. Chris Black. I like Chris Black. Give him a follow. He's like a DeFi guy. Really smart. He's also a patriot, which is something I respect about him. He's got some base takes. But he says, this photo from Davos 2022 confirms every fear that I've expressed to you about plans for DeFi. The plan has always been to endure the shadow phase, infiltrate DeFi with WEF partners, World Economic Forum, if you don't know, like Chainlink and MetaMask, then swoop in with a takeover by big banks to legitimize them. Now, we've talked about the crypto coup d'etat for quite a long time here on this channel. We've dug into the digital currency group. We've talked to Money Today Show, who's been on this stuff like a freaking hound dog since day one for many years now. Okay, you got to look up Money Today Show. You got to get yourself educated on the legacy financial system, moving into crypto, co-opting crypto, and then using it to deploy against the population in order to effectively surveil and financially control them. Okay, this has been a long time coming. Okay, like central banks have been in crypto since 2014. Like all this stuff about, oh, whoa, look at this new innovative sphere. I can't believe this. We got to make our own digital currency now. Isn't that a good idea? We're just moving along with the times. Like it's total psyop. They've been like into this stuff for a very long time. China has been working on their CBDC since 2014. They've had this group called R3, which again, the Money Today Show did a video on, which was like a consortium of like 13 big banks that were working on creating like a blockchain crypto cross-border payment system. Okay, so this stuff has been going on for a long time. We shouldn't be surprised by this at all. Things are just moving along as we otherwise would anticipate. Again, you're starting to see BlackRock, Fidelity, and Vanguard, very big institutional investors, move into Bitcoin mining here in the States. They're looking to probably do something with that at some point, but we are starting to see more talk about changing the Bitcoin code to proof of stake, which would just basically make it like a MasterCard legacy system at that point. It would be like a shareholder type deal. That's what proof of stake is. And then you've got just so many other things going on that we could get into in another video. We've talked about before. I'll try to link something around here, but yeah, check this out. I'll read it to you. It's kind of hard to see if you're watching the video, but it says, a big shift is in motion. This is at Davos. The largest Tier 1 custodians invest in the infrastructure to safeguard the market, triggering a virtuous cycle of adoption. This shift creates new regulatory standards, banks setting up the gold standard of compliance practices. Get excited. And if you look at the Digital Currency Group portfolio, this was so obvious to be coming that it's just mind-blowing that this is a surprise to people, because you look at the companies that they invested in, it was all about surveillance. It was all about compliance. It was all about getting information out of the blockchain, okay? And so, and by the way, they own like exchanges in every country. So KYC is coming everywhere. They've got that, which is going to be interlinked with artificial intelligence, surveillance, and all that stuff. So you see Chainlink here, you see MetaMask. This is the shadow crypto finance stage. You got Grayscale. Grayscale is a subsidiary of the Digital Currency Group, as is, Gemini, that's from the Winklevoss twins. You've got Kraken, BlockFi, Galaxy Digital, that's Mike Novogratz, Crypto.com, that's Matt Damon. As far as I'm concerned, I don't know who's actually. Visa's into Crypto.com. Go check that out. You got MasterCard in the Digital Currency Group. You got Visa and Crypto.com. You got Coinbase. Coinbase is invested in by MasterCard as well, and the Digital Currency Group. Coinbase is just a freaking mess of globalista money, of who's invested in that. And then banks and regulated FIs. Okay, that's wave 2 of this development that they see happening. And here you've got the typical suspects. You've got Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Visa, MasterCard, HSBC, Morgan Stanley, and all the typical suspects. Okay, so again, you've got the legacy financial system taking over crypto, adopting it, and then deploying it for the new crypto world order, which is going to play into just about everything else that's going on. Again, are you excited about Monero yet? I mean, come on. Dennis Porter. This guy is a Bitcoin bro. I'm going to try to be nice here. He's like one of these, hyper mega nuclear Bitcoin maxis. Nothing else matters. No crypto is worth the time for him, as far as I'm concerned. But check it out. He says, and let me just read it first. Democrats will become champions for Bitcoin because this nation technology improves economic opportunity for the underprivileged, drives forward innovation, and incentivizes renewable energy infrastructure across the United States. Okay. There's so much wrong with this tweet, I can barely get started, but what I want to convey to you guys is I never see this kind of coping happen with the Monero Bros, and I hope that never happens. I rue the day that happens. Okay, we don't want to grovel to politicians. We don't want to cope by thinking that Democrats or Republicans, for that matter, are going to champion anything for us. To believe that is just, at this stage in the game, I mean, to believe the politicians are going to do anything for you, which is for your benefit. I mean, dude, literally last week, or just a couple days ago, I can't remember quite. There was 2 bills that were in the Senate. One bill was going to send $40 billion to Ukraine, which 99% of it was probably going to be, embezzled by whoever, the MIC or whoever. And by the way, Rand Paul is trying to get oversight over those funds, and they dismissed that proposition. So no oversight over the funds, just going to be, sent through the black market. Hopefully it goes into Monero a little bit. And then there was another bill in the Senate which proposed to give small businesses and restaurants, for Americans, about $45 billion. Now, I'm not about printing money and giving it away to anybody. Okay, universal basic income would be a disaster, and all this inflation that we're seeing, a lot of it's coming from a lot of the money that was printed back in 2020 with the CARES Act and all that crap. But it's just interesting to note that bill wasn't passed. The bill that sent money overseas was passed to defend another country, while our country, of course, is being overrun by migrants from the South and is having economic problems and so many other things that we could talk about. But the fact that they would send that money overseas rather than help out people at home, like, they do not care about you. These politicians do not care. I couldn't even conceive of wasting a minute of my time with politics nowadays. There was a vote recently here in Georgia. I don't know if it's going on where you guys are. I'm totally out of the political loop. But there was a vote here yesterday. And there was one lady I kind of liked. Her name was Candace Taylor, I think her name was. But I couldn't be bothered to go out and vote. I just can't be bothered with it anymore. There's no hope in politics. So if you still have that hope, which I know you probably don't, which is why you're Monero, because we're all about Operation Exodus, get off the system, build parallel economies, make yourself anti-fragile, and don't rely on others to do it for you. That's sort of our ideal. Like this kind of vibe here needs to not exist, and if it does, it needs to be extinguished. There's no hope in politics. The idea that they care about providing economic opportunity for the underprivileged, I mean, come on, dude. It's 2020. Come on. They want to drive forward innovation. I mean, come on. Moving on, he's got another tweet here. I just got to rag on this guy a little bit. Somebody send this to him. The coming bipartisan support for Bitcoin will prove the better side of humanity still exists. Dude, oh my gosh. But we must fight for it. Why? Why do you have to fight for political adoption? What's the point? Because I thought the whole idea of crypto, like I thought the whole vibe back when this stuff first started was, oh, we're going to have like an economy that exists independent of the government and of central banks and of treasury departments and things like this. How cool is that? And now it's like we got to get bipartisan support for our crypto. What is this? What's going on here? Is this really a thing? And why is it that politicians saying okay to Bitcoin proves a better side of humanity? Like, do you guys see how ridiculous that is? I'm not trying to like just unabashedly dunk on this guy. I mean, I just want you guys to know, like, for Monero, none of this has to happen. We don't have to grovel to politicians. We don't have to have hope in politics. That's something that doesn't have to happen. And we don't have to be incessantly, continuously disappointed in political failures, which I've had my share of. I had some hope in politics before. And once you... well, one of my problems was I bet on the election in 2020. And I thought I won. It looked like I was going to win. And then I wake up the next day. Oh, he lost 4 o'clock in the morning. Isn't that interesting? So, when you lose your own money betting on it, it's just sort of like, okay, I'm beyond pissed now. I cannot have any hope. I've been sufficiently scammed. So no hope there. Anyways, yeah, I don't want to have anything to do with politics. It's one of the great things about Monero is that you don't have to. It's just going to have a life of its own because there is a yearning for freedom, and that is going to be borne out in the developments of the technology that are going to be integrated with this. So this is from Nick Watts, Fatal Glory. I like you, Fatal Glory. You're a good guy. I think we talked about you in a couple videos back. We were talking about like monarchy and Musk and all that stuff. It was sort of a wild video, but he had written a book called Crypto for Conservatives, I believe. Nick Watts. Go check him out. He's also working on some stuff with Monero, so go check him out. Follow him, Nick Watts, Fatal Glory. 10 followers. We got to bump those numbers up. But there's something here I want to check out. Oh, yeah. He mentioned Freedom Cells, okay? This was something interesting that I looked into. And this is something we should get on, guys. Apparently, this is like a website that connects people in local areas so that they can make like decentralized support communities. You've got gardeners, you've got handymen, you've got people who have their farms together and maybe want to bypass some of these ridiculous FDA regulations, which are killing the food networks all over the country. Oh, one chicken failed a PCR test. Now we got to burn all of them alive. This is actually happening. Look up Ice Age Farmer. There was a story about somebody who had like 2 chickens with failed PCR tests for whatever disease, and they had to kill 5 million chickens. out of risk that all of them were infected. Okay, so that's the kind of stuff that is going on. The FDA and all this environmentalist crap, it's getting so crazy that they're actually starting to seriously, detrimentally impact the food networks. And a lot of people think this is on purpose. There was actually a train crash yesterday in Canada that was filled with potash, which is one of the main things that you need to make fertilizer. It was like a 40 train car pileup. Derailment. Okay, so with Russia and Belarus having their exports limited and them being like the biggest exporters of fertilizer, and then that happening, a lot of people think there's like a concerted thing going on against the food networks and the supply chains. And so we need stuff like this. We've really got to get decentralized food networks going on. We got to start growing our own food. That's another thing I want to encourage you guys to do. Go check out Ice Age Farmer on YouTube. You got to get red pilled about this stuff. I just got red pilled recently, dude, and the information I'm learning about this is just freaking wild. I can't believe this is happening. Excuse me. But if we could link up with those guys and we could like make sort of like a nexus point for Monero Bros and people growing their own food in certain parts of the world, like, dude, I think we could do tremendous amounts of good. Okay, so let's consider that. But go check out this website, freedomcells.org. There are a lot of different groups going on here. Middle Georgia Agora. Interesting. Well, that's kind of near me. By the way, announcement shout out. I might be doing a tail emission event on June 8th here in Georgia. So if you guys want to link up for that, I'm in North Georgia. We can make something happen. Doug wanted me to do a meetup group, but I'm not going to do a meetup group type deal unless I can get like a couple people committed to this. Luke Smith, he lives in Valdosta, Georgia. We talked a little bit about linking up for an event. And by the way, I didn't just give away his locale. He says that on his YouTube page. He's trying to start an Orthodox church down there. Go check out a video he did on Orthodoxy. It's actually very white pilling. More people are coming to Orthodoxy. That's really, if there's any white pill more than Monero, it's definitely Orthodoxy. I mean, we need more Christians. We need more people who are of the faith. And we've talked about that before, why that's so important, not only on a practical level, but on a spiritual level. Very, very good stuff. But yeah, we may link up with him for the Monero Tail Emission event. We'll see what happens. But if you're interested, let me know. It's June 8th, so it's coming up here. Maybe we can go get drinks. I'm not doing anything too extravagant. But yeah, that's basically it. We got to build those parallel economies, guys. We got to get these networks up and running, okay? Very, very important. Very important. So that's it. Man, I wish I could do more of these videos more frequently. These are a lot of fun. I just go through a total ADD spurg sesh when I do these videos. So it just passed the time really quick, and I love it. But we got to pay the bills. We've got to run the books and put the taxes in, which is ridiculous. I can't believe there's actually a story of like the IRS burning like 30 million documents or something like this. And so now they're more behind than they were before. I guess they thought they were going to get rid of it. They burned all these documents to try to catch up on all of the backlog that they had. And then somebody told them, hey, you can't do that. You've got to resubmit these documents or you got to get them back from the people. So it pains me to have to deal with this stuff, but it is what it is. Glory to God. It's all His will. Hope that you guys enjoy the content. And by the way, all the stuff that we've made over the last year is still perfectly relevant to today. Monero being at a $3.7 billion market cap, it's still basically nowhere, okay? I mean, Bitcoin, I think, had a $2 billion market cap back in 2013 when it was worth like $100. So, yeah, we're way ahead of the curve. Just give it time, guys. Give it time. Be patient, but also be proactive, okay? Build those parallel economies. Figure out how to use the dark web. That's something I'm going to have to figure out how to do, not to do any nefarious stuff again. By the way, I'm glad I said that. I got a private super chat from Tommy. He says, Tommy here, dark web, easy to get started with. Tor project.org. Go get the Tor browser. Works like normal browser but hides your IP address and lets you access dark web.onion sites. Like Monero, it's a privacy tool that can be used for noble purposes as well, not just nefarious ones. Numerous XMAR sites have dark web front ends like Get Monero and Local Monero. Okay, great. Well, thank you, Tommy, for that support. Guys, by the way, don't send any more private super chats. I don't want to disappoint you by getting to them too late, because I probably will. One thing I have thought about is doing some videos in my car. Like maybe I have like the news on my phone, and then I've got like that GoPro from Loot, so maybe I'll be able to do something. But I wouldn't want another car accident. That sounds quite intense. But yeah, anything else I can think of? I don't think so. Thank you all again for the support. I really do appreciate it. Like heart to heart, we've built like a pretty cool little tight-knit community here, and I think that like you guys are so great, man. You guys are really so great. Like corresponding with all of you guys, like you guys are going to go on to do great things. Some of you have beautiful families and just great things going on. Like we need more of you guys out there. Seriously, ortho bros, people who care about freedom and who want to get people out of this satanic, panopticonical mark of the beast type deal that's going on. We need more soldiers out there on the front line, spiritual soldiers, freedom fighters. Like seriously, this is what we need. I'm so grateful that this has been sort of like a hub where we could game things out and we can sort of think together and brainstorm. So it's been great. It's been great. Love you a long time. Monero Matteo. Have a good one. God bless you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.